With one more episode to go, the Mandalorians return to their homeworld in what is, in my opinion, the best damned episode of the season so far. This is the way. G'day, I'm RJ. Welcome to the Nerdy Dad channel and my discussion of the Mandalorian episode, The Spies. The original footage was corrupted, so I've had to make do. Chapter 23, The Spies, is the 7th episode of The Mandalorian Season 3. Rick Famuyiwa directs the episode, and he'll be directing next week's finale as well. And after the way The Spies left off, I am really looking forward to that. My non-spoiler thoughts? I've already said that I think this is the best damn episode of the season to date, and I'm really looking forward to that finale. Everything is coming together in the second to last episode. Let's face it, every season of The Mandalorian so far has done this. This week had plenty of action, and there's plenty of lore, including some pulled from Legends, which I'll get into later. This episode was an absolute feast to me, and I couldn't get enough. I want to go into the details, so that means veering into spoilers territory. You all heard me, spoilers. Let's go. I need to know everything about the Shadow Council. I still need to go back and read the Aftermath books, although my understanding is that this couldn't be the same council as that one was dissolved. At the very least, it's been reinvigorated since the books. Now, speaking of books, I have read the original Thrawn trilogy, and Captain Pellaeon is now introduced into canon as part of this council. Will we see the heir to the Empire, Thrawn, in the finale, or will that wait until Ahsoka later in the year? Brendol Hux is there too. So, speaking of Brendol Hux, is Project Necromancer the First Order? Or is that the somehow Palpatine returned of it all? Of course, also present is our favourite Imperial Mandalorian aficionado, Moff Gideon. I want to know who the others are too. Every single member of this council is a potential antagonist for any story set in the New Republic era. Of course, I skipped over Elia Kane. She reminds us that she's still there, still working for Gideon, and still a threat embedded in the very heart of the New Republic. Moving on. Hands up who likes IG-12. This really worked for me. I'm not sure that it should have, but it did. It managed to be funny and heartwarming and still make sense within this world. Now, as much as I'm on record saying I'm not a fan of the Anzellan creature design, I have to admit, Bad Baby, No Squeezy made me chuckle. As did Grogu pushing buttons. Yes, no. I've got children myself. That is exactly how toddlers act. And of course, this is used to great effect later in the episode. Before we get to Mandalore, I need to give a shout out to the visual effects of the fleet. It looks absolutely fantastic. Regarding the scouting party on Mandalore, look, I usually try to save watching other reviews until I've recorded mine. But I did watch a couple this week, and one complaint I've seen is that having a small squad try to take back the whole planet is stupid, and it just makes everything seem small. Now, in this commentator's defense, time and time again we've seen the Mandoverse make things look small, probably because of the volume, and a particularly egregious example was the evacuation of Navarro a couple of weeks ago. But I'll defend this example on Mandalore. This was a scouting party, and they didn't know there were Imperials on the planet. They thought they were going to encounter small groups of creatures like we saw in Episode 2, and this group would have been more than big enough to find and secure the Forge before bringing in more people from the fleet. Speaking of those Imperials, I like the new Stormtrooper design. I also like that we saw Stormtroopers actually take some blaster fire and get back up again. You know, like their armour actually did something. Now, I'm not sure what I think about the Mandalorian survivors, and I mean that in a couple of ways. Are they Imperial informants? Are they not? I don't know. Do I like their ship? Do I not? I also don't know. What I do know that I like is this scene, when Grogu breaks up a fight between Woves and Vizsla. And what I really like is the way that Vizsla went out like a boss. This is the way. This is most definitely the way. Going into next week, Din is a prisoner. The Mandalorian fleet, which does include civilians, is under threat. And the scouting party on the planet, who barely escaped with their lives thanks to Paz Vizsla's sacrifice, are on the run. When this video posts, it'll only be a few days until the finale. And I can't wait to see how Famuyiwa finishes off the season. While we wait for that, you can subscribe to the channel above. This is the Nerdy Dad, signing off.